Today I decided to give you guys a ranking of the It franchise. This is 2 films and a miniseries, but I'm going to rank them as if they were just 3 movies. I've always enjoyed the original book that it's based on, and so without further ado, I would like to give you guys my ranking of the 3 films from worst to best. I actually don't have a copy of the 1990 film, so I'll just hold up the book for that one, and I'll give a little explanation for that at the end of the video. But without further ado, let's get started with my ranking from worst to best. Coming in at last place is It Chapter 2, released in 2019. This was an adaptation of the second half of the novel where the kids are adults, whereas the first movie, It, is the adaptation of the first half of the novel. The problem with this film is, well, right from the get-go, I'd have to say the scares themselves. Andy Muschietti, who is a pretty decent director, has a very heavy reliance on CGI in the first film, and he doubles down on the second film. I kind of wish he had taken some of that criticism to heart and reduced the CGI in the second film, but every scare is pretty much just a big CGI creature going blah at the screen. It has never been strictly a horror film. It's also very much a drama, but all the horror here is very lackluster. A couple of decent kills, including one where a little girl goes under the bleachers and runs into Pennywise. But apart from that, all the CGI heavy scares are really lame this time around. This is not a unique problem with just this film, and Muschietti also had too much CGI in the first film, and even his later film, The Flash, had way too much CGI as well. I don't know what it is, but he seems to think these effects are creepy, I guess, but they just come across as comical and goofy. All in all, there is some good to this film. I think the casting of the adults is actually pretty damn good, and we do get to see the kids return in some flashbacks. But even that leads to another problem, because the flashbacks seem rather pointless and just a soft retelling of what happened in the first film, just during the events that we didn't see. I get having the kids back, but if you're not going to do anything original with them, maybe just strictly stick to the adults. All in all, a very disappointing entry out of these 3 films, and my least favorite of the It franchise. Coming in at number 2 is It, also known as It Chapter 1, released in 2017. Actually, I got this version with a lenticular cover where the balloon turns into Pennywise's face, which I actually rather enjoy. This film is pretty damn good. I do have my problems with it, especially in the third act, and much like the second film, I do think there's too much CGI here. But thankfully, it's used more sparingly than the sequel, and it still has some really scary moments. Some parts that actually made me jump. Georgie's death at the beginning of the film was downright gruesome, and it kind of reminded me of the Kittner boy's death from Jaws. Just absolutely gruesome. And I really enjoy this adaptation of the first half of the movie. I think that the young cast here is phenomenal. Everyone does a great job here, especially Finn Wolfhard as Richie. And I think that the casting of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise was actually pretty inspired. He's not quite as good as Tim Curry, but he does bring his own unique spin to it, and it's definitely not a knockoff of that original performance. This time around, you get a unique Pennywise, a damn good cast of characters. The kids are giving it their all. Their direction is good. There may be too much CGI, and I think the film does end rather abruptly, but understandable, it is the first half of the story, and it's a solid readaptation of the novel, and one that I highly recommend. Coming in at first place is the 1990 miniseries, It. Again, I'm sorry for not having the actual copy. We'll get into that at the end of the video. I rather do enjoy this miniseries a lot, and it's not perfect. I think that if as far as pure scares go, the newer films probably do beat it, but I actually rather like this one a lot. I think the parts with the kids is slightly better than the 2017 film, not by a mile, but I do think these kids are a little bit better cast. And I think that the adult actors are not quite as good as at Chapter 2, but I think they actually handle the material a little bit better in the second half of the novel, in the second half of this movie. That's not to say that miniseries without its flaws. Some of the effects can be a little bit wonky here, including one where Pennywise goes down a drain and he's completely stop-motion animation, and it's really janky. But where this film really succeeds is the cast of characters. The kids are just great here. They give it their all, and I do buy them as this group of outcasts. Bev, for instance, in this film actually seems like a girl who would be an outcast, whereas in the newer films, she actually seems kind of like a cool girl who the other girls just don't get along with. Jonathan Brandis does an amazing job as Bill, rest in peace. And I even think John Ritter does a damn good job as older Ben, also rest in peace. If you like good miniseries or good adaptations, I do recommend the 1990 film very much. The only problem I'd say with it is some of the effects are a little dated, and the scares don't really hit very hard here. But even still, I think it's one of the best adaptations of King's work, and probably my favorite miniseries out of all of his adaptations. It 1990. Give it a shot. Well, that's my list. Sorry if I'm a bit stuffy in this video. It usually happens anytime the weather changes. But all in all, I do enjoy these 3, and I recommend all of them to you, even though I do have my problems with 2. I still think it's entertaining enough for a watch. even if it is kind of inferior to part 1 and the original miniseries. And now on to my slight gripes, and the reason this video has been a bit late. I actually ordered it 1990 on Blu-ray from Amazon. And I don't know what happened, but somewhere along in transit, they just, I guess, lost my package. I tried to contact the seller, but I never heard back from them, and essentially had to wait 2 weeks for a movie that I never got. And now, apparently, if I don't ever hear back from the seller, I'm just out the money I paid for it. It's pretty damn unfortunate, and the reason why I wanted to order it again is because I had not seen the film in about 10 years, and I wanted to rewatch it before I ranked them, so I didn't really know where it fell into my ranking. Thankfully, though, I went to a family member's house, and I was able to watch it on streaming, and it actually was still my favorite of the three. I wasn't completely sure, and I wanted to be sure by watching it again, and saw that, hey, order the movie. You don't have it? Add it to the collection. I still do have another one coming if it doesn't work out with the current seller, but all I can say is be wary of who you buy from on Amazon. If you've never heard of the seller before, maybe don't trust them. Because honestly, I could be out some money just because I wanted to watch just because I want to watch this 1990 classic. But that's enough of a rant, and I'm sorry for that, but that's the reason why this video has been so late. I've since been waiting for a package for the better part of 2 weeks, and thankfully I got to see the film on streaming, so I was able to give this video to you guys, and my honest opinions on the 3 films. I thank you all for watching very much. Sorry for the late delivery of this film. I like to have one video out a week. I know it's been about 2 weeks for this one, but I'll try to pick up the speed from now on. But occasionally things just happen that we have no control over. Thank you all for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed my ranking. Leave your ranking below if you'd like, and peace out.